All stuff that gonna change their life one day. Never do. Change.
All right, guys, we're going to do a live markup here. Just give me 30 seconds. Getting some water real quick, and we're going to start this off here. All right, let's break this down here, guys. So, first things first. Focus music is fire. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Okay. All right, now let's go over the different charts here. Let's go over what's happening this week here. I think it's big. I think we have a big week this week because we have a lot of news events coming out. Data from the government's shutdown is slowly now coming out. Okay, we have AUD, cash rate. Are we expecting a rate cut? No, we're expecting rates to stay the same in Australia. Tomorrow we have ADP, a weekly employment change. It's tentative. We don't know exactly. This has been pretty bad for us, honestly. Jolt's job openings. Huh. Delayed 7 days. What? Because of the government shutdown. Delayed by 7 days. Employment cost index, Q/Q. It's going to be at 8:30. I mean, federal funds rate this week, rate cut. I don't think we're just going to have a rate cut. I think we're going to print a lot of money. I think a lot of money printing is on its way. Yeah. This right here is a buy the rumors, sell the news. So if markets do go up, once the rate cut happens, it'll be a huge sell-off. Because we have no more cuts until most likely April. This could make January and February and March very bearish. Or us bearish until the first 2 weeks of January. So what does that mean? This could be the last bullish week in markets. Second week, a third week of December, so. Fourth week, no movement. First week of January, very low movement. And then the flow of liquidity as more profit taking happens. This might be the last push of liquidity coming into the market until profit taking starts to take over here, guys. Okay? Just being honest, this is kind of what I see right now happening. Let's look at what else I see happening here. Let me go on the live stream, actually, guys, just in case, to see if you guys have any specific questions here. And I'm not leaving that out. I'm going to make sure I'm on the live stream here. Let's do this. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask here. Okay, I'm going to pin this here. Let's look at Thursday's news. Unemployment claims coming out higher. The job market is still seeming to suffer here. I think the job market could lead us into a potential, I'm not going to say full-blown, but potential recession here. After the 15th, markets go dark. After the 15th, market goes dark. So this might be the last week we're really going to get some really serious movement here. Okay, in markets. So let's mark it up. Let's make sure this week is worth trading here. Let me look at this here. Did I see a break of structure? No break. Okay. What I think is going to happen here is probably an accumulation here. Like, you see that? We didn't break that area there, even on internal structure. External structure we might have broken, but we still do have a gap here that we do need to fill. So what I see us most likely going to is coming back to this low here. I do see Dixie at least coming back down to these lows. Maybe we hit some sort of accumulation here. Swipe of liquidity to the upside, swipe of liquidity to the downside eventually with obviously price, and then a final retracement until we fill this gap or come here, and then fully have Dixie fall as we start printing more money. Okay? I'm going to go over multiple currencies here today, so it's going to be more than one. Let's look at this here. So the biggest thing here that I'm looking at with SPX, let's look at this here. SPX broke. It did break previous structure here, which makes it more bullish. You know, it did break external structure here. That makes it technically bullish. Now, did it break daily structure is really the million-dollar question. Well, it did on this previous high here. Okay. Technically, this is a break of daily structure to the upside, which means we're going to retest these zones most likely. And if we get a close here, we're 100% continuing bullish. Now, what I am going to say is this. Would I want to buy SPX at this price? Absolutely not. All right, I don't want to buy SPX at all at that price. Technically, this is still technically, if you really want to get technical, guys, this is, you know, a break of structure in a lower low. But now that this high has been conquered, this can be considered a pullback for an extension to the upside. Now, what I do believe is until Christmas and until the new year, we're probably just going to be hanging out for a bit. We're not going to see too many highs run. Usually we see a pullback in Christmas, and that pullback has been slowly coming. Like you see this like order flow. I don't want to get involved in anything until I see a fill of structure here. All right, that's where I would buy. This is where I would buy. Okay, if I see something like this here, swipe a liquidity to swipe out all the sellers here and all that bullish order flow, and then a move to the upside. That's what I want to see. And you're slowly starting to see that here with the break here, right? Mitigation of this candle in this area here. Let me, mitigation here. And then a move to the downside. So I'm seeing SPX potentially bearish this week. Bullish all the way up until this zone here on internal. But if we get to this zone here, we've already broken internal structure both on the 1 hour, a micro structure on the 5 minute, and we've also broken in external structure here as well. So this is more bearish here. I'm looking at sells here more than buys. Okay. So this looks more bearish than bullish here. If I am going to be bullish, I am going to look at potentially something down here, something lower on external structure. I see a bunch of internal liquidity getting wiped out. This liquidity here, this liquidity here. And honestly, I'm looking at more bearish movement here to the downside. So SPX I'm more bearish on for right now, at least. We'll see in the morning, because obviously I like to let Monday play itself out. Monday is usually a slower day. You don't see too much movement in the markets. Earlier today, you saw markets were actually bearish today. And they sold off. So today was a selling day. We might see that same movement up all the way up until tomorrow. Especially with that news going on. You know, obviously, with tomorrow's news being big, the JOLTS job openings is very big. Just because we're seeing the job reports come out, and it's what's either pushing markets to the upside or downside. So that's going to be huge for tomorrow. Let's look at NAS 100 real quick. I was looking at a couple buys in NAS here. When was this? How long ago was this? We were actually successful with those buys here. All right, we called a while ago. The run, and then it kind of came back down. Oh, no, we had our stop loss hit. This was on Thursday, actually. What I'm looking for right now with NAS, let's look at external structure here. That break right there, you see that? Again, I am bullish here, but I only want to buy around external areas that haven't been mitigated, but these all have been mitigated. You see this right here? I'm going to show you guys something. Mitigation, 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 run to the upside. So what I'm looking for right now is areas that haven't been fully mitigated. This area has already been mitigated. This area has been mitigated. This area has probably been mitigated already. It's tight pullbacks. This looks like it's breaking structure here. Potentially, I want to see if this thing starts selling off tomorrow. If not, we'll see this as like a tight pullback on this zone here. On internal buys here. This place has already been mitigated, or here. This is where price would probably go to. This is a risky buy. This is the external buy. This is the internal one. Somewhere in that price zone. Yeah, so I'm looking for buys most likely here with NAS, at least all the way up until we start getting back to these highs. Once we start getting back to these highs, that's where I'm going to start getting a little worried. External selling zones are going to be very, very strong. Russell still bullish here. Russell kind of gave me that idea here because Russell was moving more. Futures. Let's look at futures here. What's interesting with futures is price. Did it close above? Yeah, it did. Price is bullish with futures. NQ. Price is bullish with the NQ, so you're going to be looking for buys here. At least all the way up until this zone. Okay. Once you get to that zone here, you're going to start seeing it be a bit. Let's look at the VIX here. SPX volatility. You are in need of a pullback. I mean, if it starts breaking here and go lower, SPX is going to run and rally. Let's look at gold. Wow. Thought we were going to fill this gap. We still do have gaps to fill. We have a gap to fill there. We have a gap to fill here. Gap to fill here. And a gap now also created here. Right? That means gold is going to run here, but we're first probably going to come back down here. Give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, now let's take a look at the bond market here. I do want to take a look at bonds. We're coming up to daily level zones here with the bond market. Okay, bonds are starting to rise. Interestingly, we've seen this thing kind of move back and forth from zone to zone, swiping liquidity on daily levels. I find it interesting, though, that the 10-year bond is doing this as markets rally and then retracing now. I mean, yields are doing this. Why are people buying so many bonds? I think this here is one large accumulation. I might be wrong. This might be one big accumulation for a rally next year. I think we might have a recession or some type of big event that pushes the S&P down, and then that'll force quantitative easing, the Fed to cut rates, and then also print a shitload of money. I think we're going to start printing a lot of money next year. I think we're going to be forced to. Okay. Let's look at gold here. I've been in and out of gold. I've taken some profits here. We're in order flow right now. So yeah, I've caught buys here, caught buys everywhere. We're in order flow. So I took some profits here. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Hit my stop profits. But we're in order flow right now for gold is what it looks like here. Especially specifically on this price zone. You see this right here? This impulse move. Even, you know, these small retracements here. This specific impulse move. Let's pay attention to this move here. You see the complex pullback that's coming from this, you know, move here. Very, very complex. Okay, complex pullback. I still have the belief gold is moving to the upside. Not the belief, I have the proof. Okay, I don't have the belief, I have proof. That's the best thing. Let's look at gold ETFs. This is the proof. Look at where gold ETFs are. They're still at lows. Look at what happens to gold ETFs starting January and February and March and April. You see that? We're at inflows that go to all-time highs in the 8 to 10 million. So the fact that we're at inflows here, like, you know, even a 30-day change, look at every January. Look at every January. Unless it was a recession, like a recession period, or a huge, massive economic boom period. But look at January 2025, rally. Even 2024, yeah, we had some pullbacks, minor pullbacks on ETF flows. Gold still skyrocketed January, February, March, and then rallied. And you can look throughout history, the first year usually, the beginning of the year is a huge rally month on average for gold. 2021, 2022, 2023, a little bit in 23, 2025. I'm looking at a pullback and another run and rally for gold. Okay. Right here. Broke structure. What am I looking for? Potentially a sell-off until we come back into this zone here. What did range tell us today? What did the range tell us today? Somebody comment. Yeah. Pull back and rally. I'm looking for a sell here, guys. Probably hold down here to swipe liquidity here. External liquidity of this zone, and then a run and rally. This thing is technically still bullish. The only thing here, the only difference is, the only reason it hasn't rallied is because it's in that complex pullback, and it looks like it's an order flow right now. It's an institutional order flow. I'm still very much bullish on this, though. Let's look at gold futures here. I just want to take a look. Yeah, break of structure. I do believe we're going to have a swipe of liquidity, probably more to the downside. And if we close below here, we could even see this price zone here that we'd have to fill that gap eventually. There is a possibility. Let's look at GU here because I do want to trade GU. We're finally getting some clear movement with GU. Could signal bearish movement for the Dixie. Okay. What I'm looking for here is buys on GU. As it's an order flow still, it's broken daily structure. This thing is on its way to the upside here. At least up to this zone here. 1, 2, the third wave is coming. Okay, where am I looking at the next structural move? Looking at the next structural move here. Safe buying bet is here. If you start to see the break of structure to the upside above and a break of structure here, what you're going to look for from this pullback here, okay, you're going to want to see that break. Once you see that break here, you're going to look at something like this here. You want to see something that closes above, pulls back. On that pullback, then you run and rally. Okay? That's what you want to look for GU. But GU is very much bullish. I'm looking for more buys on GU. Let me look at. See a lot of roadblock candles here. I don't really see too many on the 15-minute. Why did I put this as external buys? These are internal buys. Oh my god. Let me see this right now. Internal buys. Okay, let's look at USD CAD now. USD CAD looks like it's about to. Let's look at external structure here. Broke, broke, broke. I'm curious to see what price does here. If it doesn't break above, this thing's going to short. I want to see that tomorrow for USD CAD. Let's look at crypto real quick, guys. This take 30% of profit off everything. This is from 2 years ago. Or this is from this run in 2024, last year. I was considered crazy for taking 30% of all my earnings here and here. And then I had another one, I think, over here. People called me nuts. I guess they were the crazy ones. Because altcoins since then went down like 80 to 90%. But hey, it is what it is, right? Bitcoin's still bearish. Still bearish. Wow, breaking structure. Really bearish. Gonna sell off here. We missed my sell by what, like 2 pips, 3 pips on my signals? So annoying. Yeah, this thing's gonna sell off. I think we're gonna be on track to a 76K here shortly. Same with Solana, same with the rest of everything. MSRT here. It's gonna fill in this gap and probably shoot to the downside here. MSRT is gonna feel it. They're gonna feel the pain. They're gonna come down to 120 for sure. Nvidia, me thinking that Nvidia was actually going to potentially break this price, it's actually coming for a really good buying area for an extension to the upside. Not as great as the one that we caught here, but Nvidia looks good. Meta looks bearish. Meta looks like it's about to lose money right now. Coinbase looks like it needs to fill this gap. Once Coinbase fills this gap here, it's an order flow. Order flow means bullish accumulation. Get all the liquidity, capture the buying liquidity, and then stomp them out. Coinbase is looking like a short to $200. And then, what is this? The NAS 100? All right, guys. Quick markup. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll go over the rest of the news here tomorrow, but I appreciate y'all, and I will talk to y'all soon. Have a good one, guys. Peace. If you want to participate in our $250 to $500 challenge, feel free to send me a DM, okay, and we'll get you started on that. Other than that, I appreciate y'all.